The father of road racing, Ted Corbett, passed away in 2007, and anyone who ties on a pair of running shoes benefits from the many contributions of this great man. Corbett was the first president of New York Roadrunners when the organization was founded in 1958. A pioneer, Corbett championed running for exercise long before it became part of the fitness lifestyle as we know it today. Ted Corbett's training regimens were legendary. He raced well enough to make the 1952 Helsinki Olympic Marathon team. Ted Corbett set the stage for the fitness revolution. One could say that the running boom as we know it today was launched in 1958 by Ted Corbett. And as New York Roadrunners president, he brought the sport legitimacy with his push for certification of road race courses and standardization of course measurement. At age 80, Ted reiterated the original goals of New York Roadrunners.
The original goals for forming the Roadrunners Club was to get more racers and a greater range of races. And that we achieved fairly quickly.
The thousands who now participate in New York Roadrunners events owe much to Corbett for his commitment, leadership, and vision. Ted Corbett, Olympian, humanitarian, runner. Ted Corbett, the first president of New York Roadrunners and the father of distance running in America. A New York Roadrunners great moment.
Welcome to Carol's Journey TV. In this episode, we will continue our coverage of Dorina Smith's first New York City Marathon run. We'll pick this story up from the Verrazano Bridge on Staten Island.
With the Jumbotron, we were able to see the runner, we were able to see everything happening in live form because we saw, you're watching that, and at the same time, you're getting yourself excited because you're getting ready to run. They played New York, New York by Frank Sinatra, all the New York songs. So it was really like, oh my God, my time is about to come. And then what they do is they make announcements and they say, okay, group, the orange group, the 11 o'clock group, please come to so-and-so, it's now time. So when it was my time, I was getting ready. I started stripping down, donating some clothes in the bins. And then what they do is they say something in the morning time. They, thank you for coming out. It's just, I can't even explain. They started playing the Frank Sinatra music. They shoot the gun, and that was it. And we took off from there. And there's two things that I noticed. I was getting ready to take off. There was one person in front of me that was barefoot, and there was another one that had flip-flops on, and she had a sari on, and she did that entire marathon, I was told. She was in my group. Actually, she finished before I did. So, and initially, you have to understand, there's millions of people out there. So you're not shooting out that fast. If anything, you're walking because there's so many people on that bridge. So, they encourage you to, be careful, take your time. And again, it's 26.2 miles, so it makes no sense to shoot out. You have to be very smart with how you plan your time. It's 26.2 miles, 5 boroughs. So again, when you start on a Verrazano, and you'll hear this from any runner, usually you're walking because there's so many people. So what I did was you start walking a little bit, and at some point I started running very slowly. I didn't take off. I got advice from past runners and also trainers, just take your time and just enjoy the experience. It's 26.2 miles. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. What happened? So you're at the Verrazano Bridge. You're in Staten Island. You're not in Staten Island for that long. And what you notice as you go along the route, a lot of people in the community start coming out. That's what makes the New York City Marathon so special. Everybody in New York comes out. Everyone is out. Sometimes they're out handing you food, water. In addition to that, there's fluid stations along the way. That's already set up. But in addition to that, you have all these people coming out, handing you things, clapping, you got this, encouraging you. So we started in Staten Island. I'm not sure how long we were in Staten Island. It really wasn't that long. And then we headed from Staten Island, you get to Brooklyn. The majority of the marathon is in Brooklyn, the majority. And Brooklyn is the largest borough. So we were in Brooklyn for quite some time. And all I have to say is, and I was told this before the marathon, they said when you get to Brooklyn, make sure you don't get too caught up in the dancing and the singing and all the camaraderie. Brooklyn came out and there was a big thunder and roar. They were at level 10 in terms of their support. There were people everywhere. They were clapping, they were dancing, there was music. It was absolutely insane. And I was told that Brooklyn is going to be off the chain when you do the marathon. That's one borough. They come out strong.
More electron.
From the time I got to Brooklyn, I noticed that as I started leaving Brooklyn, it started to die down a little bit. And then we got to Queens. Queens, they were very nice. It was a little bit more calm.
You better go ahead, girl, go. You halfway.
Yes.
Halfway, baby. All right, you got it. I'll see you in the Bronx, Dorina.
All right.
You got it.
They were at 5. They were just, welcome to Queens. But it was nice nevertheless, and they were still out cheering and, very comforting and so forth. And then it was like a quiet storm somewhat. It kind of died down when we got to Queens. I did not train on the Queensboro Bridge. That's probably one of the things I would have done differently. That Queensboro Bridge was pretty rough. It was very hilly. And I noticed a lot of people were actually walking. They were exhausted. Mm-hmm. So I did the best I could. The goal was for me to keep going. I said, if you can't run, it's actually okay, just walk. You're on the Queensboro Bridge, it felt like forever. It felt like forever, but I think part of it is because I was tired. Most people are tired by that time. So once you get off the Queensboro Bridge, I was told you're gonna hear a loud roar. I heard a loud roar. Once you get off the Queensboro Bridge, you're on 59th and 1st Avenue, and you hear this loud thunder of people coming out. The crowd picks up again, 59th and 1st. So Brooklyn is the first big roar. The second big roar is 59th and 1st, as soon as you get off that Queensboro.
Hi, I'm Sonia Richards of the 2008 U.S. Track and Field team. I'm here with our friends from Jane and the Dragon to say,
the amount counts, so keep portions under control.
For fun ways to get healthy, visit www.smallstep.go.
All in together now, we can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We'll rope it up,
cause we know how to jump.
we'll roll it out,
Cause we know how to skate.
we'll cut it down,
Cause we know what to eat.
we'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Can we do it?
Just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier. Search We Can to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day.
So from 59th and 1st, once I got there, I noticed that I started slowing down and I was getting tired and my ankles were getting tired, my knees were getting tired. And I ran into another runner and she was experiencing the same thing. And she told me that she and her husband were both doing the New York City Marathon. Her husband was almost finished. So she was like, Lord, just meet me there. So I just kept going. I wished her well because she took off and I said, I'm just going to stay back here. I'm absolutely exhausted. So I said to myself, the only thing I can do is just keep going. Now there's fluid stations at every mile, so I stopped at a couple of fluid stations. I try not to drink too much water, try not to have too much Gatorade, So I just said, if I stay hydrated and if I keep moving, it's actually going to be okay. Once you get to, when you're about to get to the Bronx because the third roar happens. Oh. There's usually somebody on that bridge, on that Willis Avenue bridge, sure enough, telling you if once you get over this Willis Avenue bridge, you're almost there. Sure enough, there was somebody right on that Willis Avenue bridge. That's how you know you're getting ready to get to before you get to the Willis Avenue bridge. They said there's going to be somebody there, so a couple of people. Yeah. You'll know you're about to hit the Bronx. You're just going to know. Sure enough, there was this guy preaching. He was like, once you get over this bridge, you're almost there. You got to keep pushing. I got over the Willis Avenue bridge.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You must have got my text.
No. How you doing?
I am
making it. You're making it.
I got some pickle juice right here.
You're getting ready to do it, though.
Yes. Yes. It's
the home stretch.
Yes. Almost there, but I am beat. The longest borough was Brooklyn. Brooklyn was the longest borough. That was okay. It was a lot of high energy, a lot of music. The Queensboro was rough. Getting over that Queensboro bridge, that was insane in the membrane.
Well, you just went over your last bridge.
I think everybody that went over that Queensboro was just like, OMG. Yeah, I just went over my last bridge, which is the 3rd Avenue Bridge. So I'm now heading to mile 22. And sooner or later, we're going to be running around Marcus Garvey Park, and then we're going to be heading towards Central Park. So we're going to enter Central Park at East 90th Street. We're going to run down to 68th, run out of the park, run across Columbus Avenue, and re-enter Central Park till we get to Tavern on the Green, and that's where it ends.
Okay. You want me to hold those gloves for you?
Yes, absolutely.
I got you.
So I guess I'll see you at Columbus.
I'll see you there.
All right.
Okay?
Okay.
You're doing great, man. Proud of you.
So you enter East 90th, you enter Central Park at East 90th, and you're going to stay in Central. You're going to stay there. And you're going to run down to about 68th Street. Once you get to 68th Street, they have you running out of the park. You get out of the park, and you're going to go all the way down to 59th and Columbus. And as you're running along 59th and Columbus, you see another slew of people, and you already know you're almost at the end. And that's when I saw some family members, and we decided to keep. And by that time, it was dark. People are cold and you're tired.
see you back at the hotel. Okay.
I saw people just, and I forgot that it was daylight savings, but so by the time I finished, it was dark. It was cold. I know one of my runners, her sodium dropped. It's different things that happen to you along the way.
Yeah.
But it just felt like before you get to the finish line, it felt like forever to get to, it felt like forever. And the reality is it really probably wasn't forever. You were just physically tired, you know. So my goal was to, I said, let me just get to the hotel, get inside, eat some food and do the best I can. I had a hard time sleeping again because my legs were beat. I had to take a Tylenol and Motrin. Pretty, yeah, this was pretty tough.
Yeah. I have
Thank God I took like some days off. I am absolutely beat. My head is pounding me. My legs, I couldn't feel my legs. My feet were in pain. I had a lot of pain in my feet. And I couldn't really eat. I tried eating, I couldn't eat. I took care of the cold. Like once I got inside the hotel, my first thing to do was, just to, you take your clothes off, you go shower. I took a Motrin, but I disconnected from my body, so I just felt numb. I think that was the best way to describe it. I actually felt numb. Well, with Chicago, I was told ahead of time that, well, first thing, I had to go out of state. That's the first thing. So now you're not only preparing to go out of state, you got to take time off from work, a couple of days after that. So you're preparing to go out of state. You have to make, if you have, small children, or if you have a pet, you have to make reservations for that as well. So that's a whole different dynamic altogether. That was a couple of things. So it's making sure you have the time off because you have to go out of state, finding hotel, packing luggage, make sure you have everything you need. Obviously, if you miss something, you're not coming back. And as I said before, if you have small children, either you're taking them with you or you're making other reservations for them. If you have a pet like I do, I had to make sure that he was in boarding. That had to be taken care of. So you got several things you might have to do prior to leaving the state. So that was a couple of things that was different. In terms of how the marathon was set up, it's set up like any other marathon. It's still 26.2 miles. There's fluid stations at every mile. There's a medical team at every mile. And the medical team does provide different things to take care of chafing and so forth. So it's the same setup. The only difference I find was that I'm going out of state and I had to prepare myself because you're traveling. Chicago was flat. That I remember. The only thing that was maybe a little different was going over that. Chicago has that bridge. I'm not sure exactly where it is. That was a little different running on that. It wasn't that pleasant running on it, even though they had carpeting. But I noticed, I did see a couple of people stumble on that bridge. I saw quite a few people. Again, I'm not from Chicago, and I'm assuming that a person wasn't either. They're not really familiar with the dynamics of the area, but I did see quite a few people stumble over there. The other thing I was prepared for, I was told ahead of time that the weather was unpredictable in Chicago. I was always under the impression that Chicago would be very cold and very windy. When we did the Chicago Marathon, it was hot. It was 70-something degrees that day. It was hot. It was hot. And what the city did was they had sponges for us. They had fans out there. They were well prepared. It was hot. Mm-hmm. So, but I was told that the weather was unpredictable. I was told ahead of time. And to prepare for warmer clothing and in between just in case. I was told that ahead of time for someone that already did the Chicago Marathon. With New York City Marathon, I think the entire world shows up for the New York City Marathon. I think the New York City Marathon is the most popular marathon on the face of this earth. Everybody comes to New York City. That's the first thing. So that would be, I would say, the difference between that and, people try Chicago. I saw people from different countries too, but New York City, I don't have an actual number but it's probably well over 100,000, I would say, and it's growing. And in 2020 is going to be a very special year because I was told that New York Roadrunner, they turned 50 years. So that number will probably most likely double. So that's one of the things. But yeah, New York City, definitely you see people from different countries, more so probably than any other marathon, from what I've been told and what I've heard, you know. You do have to understand that when you're signing up for a race, if you go through New York Roadrunners, you have fluid stations. It's set up like every mile or two. They'll make sure you have water and accommodations and bathrooms. When you're training by yourself, it's raw. So you want to make sure that you, first of all, you know the location you're going to run in. It's ideal to run with a group. And then from there you can kind of plot and plan and say, okay, well we're gonna run in Van Cortlandt. Okay, so we know where all the bathrooms are. We know that most of us would carry have a backpack with me, and it's a specific backpack for runners. And what we generally do is, because we're running in the street, we make sure that we have fluids in there. We make sure we have snacks in there. Maybe a first aid kit, especially if you're running long distances, because you don't have these same accommodations you have if you're signing up for a race. So those are some of the things that you have to be mindful of when you're just running in general. You're running, you know, maybe you're going to do the Greenway, and when we do the Greenway, we know where all the bathrooms and all the amenities are and so forth. And when we do Van Cortlandt, we know that, okay, we have a bathroom here, we have a bathroom there, and you know, there's times where you have to pull out all the things you've learned when you did Girl Scouts. You have to improvise sometimes. In the summertime, I found the summertime to be the most challenging because, first of all, it's extremely hot. So generally what we do is we tend to run very early in the morning. We don't start running at 8 o'clock. We might push that time back to 6 only to accommodate the schedule. It's very difficult running in the heat. The heat is no joke. So we'll have a tendency to start a little early and try to finish early. We encourage everybody to make sure they have fluids, to make sure they have salt tablets, because different things happen to you with the warmer weather. Some people run at night because it's just too hot, you know. So those are some of the things that happen along the way. In terms of chafing, I've experienced chafing more so in the summertime, especially when I'm running very long distances. 5 miles I've been okay, but I've noticed personally when I start going over 10, I start having issues with chafing. I had some very severe issues with that. So I know for me, when I plan my long runs in the summertime, I know that I have to make sure I have anti-chafing creams with me, Vaseline with me, you know, so I have to take additional stuff. But in general, in terms of looking at a runner's backpack, you'll notice you'll see Gatorade in there, you'll see water. Sometimes you'll see jelly beans because we need the sugar. Some people bring, they have different fluids and different snacks specific to a runner to help you to, just to fuel you up along the way. Because like I said, you're running in areas where sometimes there's no bathroom. There might not be a vending machine, so you have to be able to be prepared for that. You don't want to wear new clothing the day of a marathon. You want to break all that in weeks prior to. You don't want to buy a pair of new running shoes and then do a marathon the next day. It's probably not advisable. It's advisable to break all those clothes in a couple of weeks prior to the marathon. You know, so my running shoes I brought my running shoes a couple of weeks before the marathon, and I had plenty of time to break them in. The particular running pants that I had on were designed I bought running pants, New York Roadrunners, they have an official website, so I was able to purchase these running pants, and they were specifically designed to address issues of chafing, and I had absolutely no chafing the entire 26.2 miles. And also, again, you can always go on the website or speak to any of your fellow runners or any seasoned runners to find out how to properly layer your clothing, because you don't want to overdress. Obviously in the very beginning, because it's very cold, you're getting up at 5 in the morning, you can layer up as much as you want because you're not going to run with those clothes. Those are clothes you're going to donate anyway. But as I said before, there's plenty of resources and people to speak to in terms of the proper way to lay yourself prior to running and what you should wear. But I was well prepared in that respect. I guess the only thing I had a hard time was I had a hard time eating. I just couldn't really get anything in my stomach, and I think that was mostly nerves, you know. Now that I've done 2 marathons, I got Chicago done, and I definitely did New York City. New York City is my hometown. I'm very happy about these 2 accomplishments, but I don't feel the need to do it again. I'm very happy with just experiencing doing New York City once. But I am excited about exploring other cities. I'm very excited about that, but I think that at this point I am good. There's no need for me to do that again. Okay, so the future plans for running is this. I will not be doing a full marathon next year. I'm going to continue to run, and my goal is to, run a couple of times during the week for leisure. I am going to be signing up for some half marathons because it works with my work schedule. So that's my plan for 2019, is to kind of continue to run, but more or less run for leisure, sign up for a couple of races. I'm going to continue. It's not going to be as intense as it has been the past 2 years where I've had to take off the entire summer and train. So next year is about and I'm also looking at races I've never done before. Maybe going out of state. I did sign up for the Marine Corps half, and that's in Virginia, and so I'm very excited about that. It's in May, the weather's going to be nice, so that's exciting. But my other goal was to look at other cities and not just run in the other city. It gives me an opportunity to explore another city, to visit the food, the culture, and learn different things about the city itself, and also get a run in. So that's my goal. Continue to grow with my group, Black Girls Run and Start Line Runners as well. We have our meetups on Tuesdays and Saturday. As far as 2020 is concerned, I would like to definitely do another marathon again. I might consider that in 2020, and I'm really interested in going overseas if I can make that happen. My target would be probably Berlin. That would be something I would throw my name in the hat. That would be through a lottery. So I'm going to throw my hat in there and see what happens, but that would be 2020.
Thanks for watching part 2 of Dorina Smith's New York City Marathon Run. If you missed part 1, you can always find it and all our previous programs on YouTube. What we hope that you take away from this program is your dreams can come true. It's all up to you. Thanks for watching. Till next time.